All the way back in 2013, Sigma released the 18 to 35mm f1.8 lens, which is kind of something of a legendary APS-C lens. I think everyone who used it really fell in love with it. And now, 12 years later, 2025, Sigma are releasing this. This is the 17 to 40mm f1.8 lens for mirrorless cameras. So this is for Sony E mount. So it comes in Sony E mount, it comes with Fujifilm X mount and Canon RF mount as well. So a few different options for how you might want to use this lens, where you might want to use this lens, within which system. Still an APS-C lens, but with an improved focal range. So 17 to 40mm is actually, do you know what? That's actually pretty versatile. In full frame equivalent, that works out to be about 25.5, 26mm to 60mm, but still with that f1.8 aperture, which is absolutely ideal for low light stuff, being able to get some slightly more out of focus elements into your shots. I love it. And actually, the lens is, do you know what? For what you get in terms of a very fast aperture like that, this is small, this is lightweight as well. I mean, it's coming in at 525 grams on a Sony body. So that feels very, very nice in the hands. And it means that you are able to get an enormous amount out of this lens, which I've got to be honest as well, is nowhere near as expensive as I thought a lens like this might be, which is really nice to see. In terms of the actual design of the lens, it feels great. I've got to say, it feels amazing in the hands. This would go perfectly on, if you're shooting Sony mount, on the front of something like the A6700, this is going to be absolutely lovely. It's not the smallest lens in the world. It was never going to be, right? F1.8 aperture means that it needs to be a certain size, but actually I don't think the size is very big at all for what you're getting here. And the way it's balanced as well, and of course, like I say, it's not that heavy, just means it sits really well in the front of these mirrorless cameras. Also, the design of the lens, the way it's set up, I think is wonderful. You've got this aperture ring, which I always like, and then the option to click and declick as well. I think that's a lovely way to be able to shoot with a lens like this. Of course, the zoom ring, the manual focus ring, and then a couple of custom function buttons as well, which is always useful to have on a lens like this. It's just so perfect in the hands. It just feels very, very comfortable when you are shooting with this. And because it's such a versatile focal range, it's just easy to leave this on your camera, whether you're shooting photo or video, which I actually think this would be absolutely ideal for. I think the size and the weight lends itself really well to be used on a gimbal. And I think, there's a lot of great APS-C options, the FX30, for example, that you could use this with for video. And then, of course, in the photo space, you've got a lot of different ways you can use a lens like this. Just a lot of versatility there. Of course, image quality is the most important thing when it comes to really any lens. And absolutely, this has some lovely optics in it as well. So nice and sharp images, wide open at f1.8. You get a tiny bit of softness out towards the corners, but that's absolutely gone as soon as you start stopping down. And actually, I just don't think it's going to be that much of a big deal. It's really not particularly noticeable, I don't think. I really don't mind it. I actually think it just gives the lens a little bit of character, which I quite like, because otherwise everything gets a little bit too clinical, a little bit too clean. I actually really, really like the look of the images that you're able to capture with this lens right through that focal range as well. And that focal range does mean that you're able to get some pretty wide shots, which is nice. If you want to shoot landscape, if you want to shoot some wider stuff, and then zoom in, right? The full frame equivalent all the way up to about 60mm means you can use this for portraiture, absolutely. And you'll be able to get that nice separation between subject and background. Shoot at f1.8, you can get some nice out of focus areas for sure. That bokeh is pretty smooth as well. It looks really nice and clean, which means it's quite pleasing to the eye. You can get some nice out of focus areas for sure. And of course, that fast aperture means you're able to capture some lovely low light stuff as well. Just shoot a little bit later. I actually think this might make for a great kind of events lens as well, just because you don't have as much control over lighting. And there's a lot you can do with this kind of focal range with a nice fast aperture like that. I mentioned that I think this would be good for video as well. And importantly, focus breathing here just isn't that bad at all either. There is a little bit, right? Which I think is fine, but it could be a lovely option for shooting all kinds of different video stuff. Again, very versatile focal range to be shooting with, get some nice cinematic looking stuff, especially with that fast, wide open aperture. And it sits really nicely on the front of some of these cameras. I'll be honest with you, I think Sigma have absolutely nailed it. It's a lovely APS-C option, which we don't see, we see APS-C lenses, but we don't see loads and loads and loads of them. I think this is a fantastic option, whichever mount you might want to use for it. And I think, like I say, I think you get a huge amount here for the kind of price that you're going to be paying for this, right? Nice versatile focal range, nice fast aperture, some really nice optics and design of the lens itself as well. And this is all coming in currently under £800, which means you're getting a huge amount there, I think, for your money. This is a very, very kind of all-roundery lens that you could use for lots of different things. And I think Sigma have absolutely nailed it. Now, you can check out the full spec. There's loads of stuff to check out with this lens over at parcameras.com. I'll pop a link down in the description so you can go and check that all out for yourself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, so there's new content all the time. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, as always, thanks for watching.